Hello, sportsmen. What do you do on a hunting and fishing show at Christmas time? Hey, I think this is a good time to tell some stories. First of all, we're going to hear some very interesting and humorous fishing stories from our Trophy Awards banquet. Then we'll hear about Tex Dismuke's big 19-point buck, talk to his taxidermist, and look at this monster. So, kick back, enjoy the stories. I'm Fred Trost. It's time for the Practical Sportsman. Oh, look at this. Oh, look at this. Adam Robert Galloway. There we go. Yes, indeed. Look at this channel cat. This is 32 inches long, almost 14 and a half pounds. We got to all get in together. Now look at the fish hat. Turn sideways there. That's your little sister, right? Mm-hmm. Yep. Sarah, now turn your head. She's got a catfish. Pretty clever, I tell you. Now, why isn't the old man wearing a hat like this?
They didn't send me one.
Oh, they didn't? Okay. Well, look at this. Tip that up there if you can a little bit for the camera, Adam. And this channel cat you caught, you don't have the bait or the lure you caught it on. What'd you catch it on?
A night crawl harness.
Okay.
And when we got it in the boat, it just fell all apart.
It fell apart?
Mm-hmm.
Like...
The line broke and everything.
Oh, okay, the fish didn't fall apart, though. I just pictured pieces of a channel cat all over the boat. Okay, so the line broke, and did it flip a lot in the boat?
Well, yeah.
Well, you were pretty excited, huh?
Mm-hmm.
And your dad was with you?
Yeah.
Did he help you reel it in at all?
Yeah. Because we got in the weeds.
Huh? Okay, you said that. You admitted that. Now, what is it? You kind of got the feeling it was kind of a big fish?
Well, we drifted into some weeds, and he'd been playing with it for a long time, and twice he said that his arms were getting tired. So.
No, I know how that happens.
Yeah.
You say, Adam, are your arms tired? Huh?
No.
I know the scam.
You know what?
Yeah.
No, he said he was tired. In fact, the first
You really were?
Yeah.
Okay, you were really tired.
And I told him to get the net after that, and he missed it on the first one. And I said, Adam, you're going to lose this fish. And
yeah, but you had the rod and reel, then you were going to blame it on him? How dare you? Take the rod and then tell him.
Yeah. Then he got it on the second one.
Well, I should hope so.
Yep.
Let's have a vote. Who caught this fish? Was it Adam or his dad? Adam! Congratulations, Adam. You got the fish. That's an inland rainbow. You didn't have it mounted.
No.
Why not?
I've never had a fish mounted. I only take what we eat, and then I
and eat what you
release
take.
Everything. Right.
You really haven't any of your friends told you that you might not catch an inland rainbow quite that big?
Yes. Yep. I had a lot of people tell me that. But this spring, just January 10th, I caught a 10-pound, 12-ounce rainbow.
Did you have that one mounted?
No, I did not.
What's
There's a bigger one than that out there.
There's a bigger one than that. Well, I'll be done. Well, good luck to you.
Yep.
That's a heck of a story.
Yeah, I was jigging with 2 poles, and before I caught this fish, I had a good hit. And I fought the fish for about, 5 minutes. It took a lot of line. Finally, I got it up by the hole, and the line kept going around and around the hole. And a guy came over to gaff it, and he stuck the gaff in the hole and pulled out a 8-foot 2x2. And then I was embarrassed. There was about 75 people there.
You mean that was on your...
That was on my jigging Impala. So anyway.
Oh, so you actually caught an 8-foot 2x2.
Yeah.
But, you didn't send that in.
No, I just stuck that up, and it's...
That would have qualified in our 2x2 category.
Well, anyway,
Okay, so you were kind of embarrassed because you drew quite a crowd, and he actually gaffed the 2x2.
Yeah, and he kept walking back with it, and ended up to be 8 foot long, so he stuck it in the snow, and I was really embarrassed. So I sat down, started jigging some more, and I got another hit, and I didn't want to really be embarrassed. It didn't really feel like a fish, so I pulled up a piece of 2x6. So I got a big applause over that one. And,
Okay,
so anyways, I jigged for a little while longer, and then I got this fish on. And I said, well, I got a fish on this time, and I had a hard time getting somebody to come over and gaff it.
No.
So anyway, this guy came running over, and he'd had a couple, and slipped and run his leg in the hole. And so anyway, I was really nervous about this because I saw this fish coming up, and it looked like it weighed 40 pounds coming up to the hole, you know. So anyway, he got it together, and one of his friends pushed him out of the way, and he gaffed this fish and threw it up on the ice. And
No kidding. So you caught a 2x2, a 2x6. By that time, the only person who would come to your aid was a drunk.
and well, he had a couple.
He had a couple, okay. And it got his foot in the hole, and you finally got this one out, which is 11 pounds, 3 ounces, 30-incher. Look up there and smile. I'll tell you what, that's a great fish, isn't it, folks? All by himself, Dad? What is the story? You were using a minnow and still fishing? Ice fishing.
Yep, I caught it on a tip up. It fought pretty hard.
Well, I would guess, because you're using your hand to haul in the line, right? Or did you crank it in?
I just pulled it up and all the line went out on the ice.
Okay, so you had the line all around your feet, and he's pulling it out. Was your dad behind you? Was he near you?
Yeah, he was behind me.
And what happened when you saw how big that pike was?
Well, I just looked down the hole to see if I could see it, and I seen a big old pike down there, so
So what'd you say?
I said, it's a pike.
Well, but you know, getting something like this through the hole isn't easy, is it?
Well, it was heavy. He had to, after I pulled it right up straight like this through the hole, he grabbed it and threw it on the ice. And then we had it through the ice.
You must have been excited. Who was more excited, you or Dad?
I don't know.
That's something else. He was? But he did it himself, huh?
Yeah, the only thing he couldn't do, he pulled it, you know, it was hurting his hand. The line was trying to get the weight of the fish up onto the ice. So I just grabbed it by the head and iced it. He did all the other work.
You did all the other work. Matt, you're a heck of a fisherman. I think you got one heck of a future ahead. Let's congratulate this 8-year-old who catches a 40-inch northern pike. Everybody counts the points on racks, but there's no rack in the state whose points have been counted more than this one. Tex Dismuke got this 19-pointer. Now let's verify this for you folks. See if these are good points. See if you think they're good points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We got down here 7, 8, 9, 10. Moving over to the other side, 11, 12, 13. This is forked here, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Didn't even try to go for that little cheap one there, did you?
No.
Okay, 19 legitimate, huge points on this buck that you took in Macomb County.
Yeah, Romeo area.
And this is the one, you would have been happy. You would have been happy with a buck that had that and that, right?
I'd have been happy with that spike one I missed.
You missed a spike horn the day before.
The day before.
What, did you get buck fever on a spike horn?
I don't know. I think I must have pulled that trigger instead of just squeezing it off.
Well, when this thing walked in a day later, how could you even get enough composure to squeeze?
I don't know. My heart was beating so fast I was just hoping he wasn't hearing it.
Oh, boy, I tell you.
You just took your time and squeezed it off.
Well, here we are at the end of deer season, a week after the close of the deer season, and John Lombardo from Lombardo's Taxidermy up in Anchorville mounted this deer. And the question is, nobody gets their deer back in 2 weeks.
They do when they're this big.
Well, I mean, it is, all you taxidermists take in all your deer heads, for example, in just a couple-week period in the fall.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
And everybody wants their rack back, you know, at the end of the month.
Right.
No can do.
We can't do it. No.
And oftentimes it's a year or so later before they get it?
Usually 6 to 9 month wait on a deer head. This one here we knew was going to be on the show, and it's probably one of the biggest whitetails that I'll ever mount and have mounted. And so we pushed it right ahead for him and paid special attention to it. As soon as he brought it in, we started the skinning procedure. And
Now, when you skinned it, do you skin it up the back of the neck?
yes, they're skinned up the back of the neck, and there's a Y incision coming from the back of each main beam. coming down, and we skin it down the back of the neck. It is then fleshed down real well. The ears are turned.
Well, when you say turned, you mean turned inside out?
Turned inside out, right. It'll be just like a mitten. You could fit your hand right inside the ear. The lips are split to get all the flesh out in the fat tissue of the lip. And then we proceed to tan it. The first step would be drying the cape out, salting. This cures the hide, and it usually takes about a 2-3 day process. The salt drains all the unwanted moisture out of the skin, which contains a lot of protein and fluids. And then it goes into a pickling solution, which actually pickles the hide and prepares it for the tanning solution.
Okay, so after the pickling, then you tan it.
Right.
Now, but you did all this so fast. Is this mount going to hold up as well as the mounts that would come out like 9 months from now?
Of course. The tanning procedure is the most important part in the mount. A good tan, this mount will last indefinitely.
So you tan that yourself at your place?
We do our tanning in the shop.
Okay, so that's how you were able to control this. Now, when Tex brought this for Big Buck Night, and even now, it's not ready for display, because we asked if we could put this on display at the museum, because people would get a big kick out of seeing it. But it's still not done.
No. We have pins still set in the corners of the eyes, in the nostrils. Temporarily, I put a little bit of paint over them to cover the pins for the show. But once we're done with the show, we'll bring it back to the studio. We'll put more pins and cards on the sides, in the depression where the muscles show, and around the eyelids. And once it's good and dry, I like to let them dry for about 3 weeks after they're on the mannequin. And then we'll pull the pins, put a modeling compound around the eyes, and paint it. The whole thing has to be brushed out yet. We take an air compressor with real light pressure and blow any sawdust, because during the tanning process, this is tumbled in a sawdust compound to dry it.
So it's funny, people look at this and they say, your mount's done, but not by a long shot.
Not in reality.
What would happen if Tex said, I can't live without it, I'm going to hang it over my fireplace right now?
Well, he probably could do it and it'd be fine, but
5 years from now?
5 years from now, you might get some drumming. The hide paste underneath there, without the pins in place, it will pull away. As leather dries, it has a tendency to shrink, and it'll pull away from the mannequin. That's why we were anxious to get it back to the studio and put the cards back on it, put the pins back on it, and let it dry for about 2.5, 3 more weeks.
So for the next couple of weeks, this buck won't be able to be seen like this. It'll look like maybe some of those shows where those women are wearing the mud on their face and they got their hair in curlers and all that type of thing.
We'll have pieces of cardboard, like in behind the jawline, and the depression under the armpits there, by the brisket, and around the lip area. And I'll even put some more packing in the nose until it's good and dry. Then we'll pull it all apart and prep it up for them.
Now, what kind of mount do you call this? Is this just a standard form of a standard?
This is a semi-upright shoulder mount with a left turn. Okay, it's a good mount for a big buck like this. It shows the rutting neck. He's a little bit more relaxed. His head's lowered a little bit, and you can see the nice rutting bulge he has in the neck here. It's a real nice mount. It's a common mount. You'll see it a lot on the cover of Whitetail magazine. They show a lot of this.
Now this, putting the antlers on here, of course they're intact. They were cut off of the skull.
Right.
But there's not much else other than the part of the skull and the antlers. The rest is a form.
The rest is polyurethane foam. The eyes are glass, of course. And the inside of the ears is a polyester resin that we use, which speeds up the process today also. Years back, we used to use paper ear liners, and we used a water-soluble glue, which took weeks to dry. We can shape and form these ears in a matter of 20 minutes, and they're dry.
Now, how long will this last, do you think?
Well, this will last indefinitely.
It'll outlast Tex.
Sure should.
I'm not that old yet.
Well, I know, but I mean, you can put this in your will, and it will still look good for the grandkids or whatever.
His grandchildren, yes.
My son will definitely get this.
There you go. As long as it's in a controlled environment where it doesn't get too much moisture, humidity, smoke, or grease damage, you know.
Okay, now you're saying so in areas where there's smoke, over the fireplace is not a place to keep a buck like this.
It's not a good place, especially if you use the fireplace, because of the dry heat that it gives off, and it'll dry up the leather itself. We put an oil back into the hide as it's tanning to leave it soft and pliable. but over a fireplace, the dry heat really isn't good for the mount.
Did you do anything to these antlers at all? I mean, do you do anything on coloring them or?
We don't stain them. They're washed real well, and I use I call it horn oil, but actually all it is like a neatswood oil. And I rub it on there with a soft cloth, and it brings back the natural luster of the horn. And it's a good idea to do it to your trophies once or twice a year. It gives it depth and gives it a little bit of a shine, but not too much.
Is this mount that you've done the standard type of mount that people normally get when they come to Lombardo's Taxidermy? I mean, this,
Sure.
the way you do that?
Mm-hmm. Except for the rush on the...
The rush time?
Yes.
Okay. What does it normally cost nowadays? What are the prices? Have there been price wars among taxidermists? I mean, I know business has got to be down because the deer season was down.
Yes. Seems like business is down on deer heads about 35%. It's been a poor season as far as taking in deer heads. But pricing, I've noticed some price wars going on. We can't really do that. We try to maintain a quality, and you have to pay for quality.
Yeah.
But $210 to $250 is the common price to pay for a deer head and a full shoulder.
Tex has agreed to put this big buck on display here at the museum for a limited time. We'll announce that schedule on the first show in January. The competition is obviously heating up, just as Bob Antsack from Grand Rapids is heating up his Wisconsin perch chowder. Texture and taste are the keys to this one. What is it about this chowder that, I know you're excited, you've been walking around here kind of strutting a little bit with
It's
this.
a good recipe. It originates in Wisconsin about 20 years ago. And I have been trying to get the recipe, and I finally got it last winter from my wife's uncle. And as he wrote it to me, seasoned to taste, so I had to adapt a little bit to my own tastes.
And what are your tastes? How do you describe these?
A combination of flavors, nothing overpowering.
So kind of mild. Is that?
I would say so, yeah.
Professor McGuire here, studying the recipes. What is the scoop?
I found a flavor in there I didn't know what it was, and I wanted to look at the recipe.
What was it?
See if I could bring it together. I still haven't figured it out. I think it's a combination of the spices he used. He used them in a very different way on the Wisconsin perch chowder. And I'd like to wish William a happy birthday. Today's his birthday.
That's right.
And I really wish I could vote for his recipe today, but I can't. I'm going to have to go with the perch chowder.
The perch chowder?
Yes.
The brie, I really don't care that much for brie, but this is a very good application for it. It is a very mild taste. I like the rabbit in there, but I've got to go with the Wisconsin perch chowder. It is the consistency. It's almost a bisque, and in flavor, and the all of that lovely spices and
Okay.
chunks
Okay.
and pieces of perch just grabbed me.
All of the Practical Sportsman TV recipes from October through January are published in the current Practical Sportsman magazine. You'll find them in a handy clip-out format for your recipe file. If you're interested in trophy fish, we have color photos of some of the biggest, along with computer analysis of trophy fish data. If you're a hunter, you'll find pictures, charts, and graphs analyzing hunting awards data, and this issue also contains all of the entries for the 1992 Realtree Hunting Awards. How-to articles are on the subjects of firearms, archery, questions of law, recreational vehicles, sporting dogs, and a new department called Warm and Dry, which talks about products and techniques for outdoor comfort. Schedules of our weekly events at the Practical Sportsman Museum and other Practical Sportsman Club activities are in the magazine. If you'd like a free copy, just write to me and you'll receive one within 4 weeks. If you want your copy sent first-class mail, enclosed $4 will expedite it to you within a few days. I'll also send you information on joining the club. I'm just looking at a couple issues of the old Outdoor Digest magazines from 1990, where I wrote an editorial with some predictions for this decade, followed by an opinion poll of readers. Kind of interesting to look at. In 1990, I predicted gun control concerns would let up because drug-related crime would become more rampant. The readers' poll showed that 92% of the respondents agreed with me. 70% said that pro-gun forces will win more than they lose. Interesting, huh? Well, in the next issue of the Practical Sportsman, I'm running another poll to find out what sportsmen think now on these issues, well, such as animal rights. Now, I predicted that in the 1990s, these activists would be regarded as fanatics who have gone too far. 82% agreed with me, and this is one that I think has happened as predicted. And the damage, though, that's been done by animal rights activists on fur prices, which resulted in rabies and other wild animal problems, is really starting to show up. Now, I predicted hunters and anti-hunters would have a few violent clashes which would dampen the enthusiasm of hunter harassers. Most people disagreed with me on this one, and as far as I know, there haven't been any confrontations, but hunter harassment has dropped way off. Now, I predicted the Great Lakes salmon and trout populations will go down similar to the mysterious way pheasant populations went down after a boom in the 1950s. 77% agreed, and population have indeed continued to drop. Now, looking at 1994, my main concern is gun control, because I don't see much crime control in the future. I'm really concerned that restricting gun ownership could create more crime instead of cutting it back. There's a lot more at stake here than just hunting. I think that's going to be the main challenge of sportsmen in the coming year. Another hunting season closed this past week, muzzleloading deer in the Lower Peninsula on the 19th. December 22nd, non-resident beaver otter trapping season opened in Units C and F. The 31st, well, that's a closing of bass season statewide, and New Year's Day will be the last day for archery deer, ruffed grouse, and squirrel hunting. There's an ATA registered trap shoot Sunday the 26th at East Rockwood Sportsman's Club in Carlton, a non-sanctioned shoot Tuesday in Ionia, where there's also an IPSC handgun shoot Thursday the 30th. Coming up the last weekend in February, our Practical Sportsman Real Tree Hunting and Fishing Awards banquets at the Lansing Civic Center. I know we're going to have lots of big buck night racks there with hunters telling their stories on Saturday night. The first weekend in January, we invite people with sporting dog puppies to contact us about exhibiting your pups for sale. This weekend will feature beagle training. On the 9th, trainer George Perman will give a beagle training demonstration. If you have miniature outdoor art, contact us for exhibit information on the second weekend in January. The third weekend will be ice fishing gear. We'll also have a fish chowder cook-off on Sunday. For information about participating in the chowder cook-off for prizes, give us a call. And we'll have a muzzleloader gun show January 29th and 30th. Get in touch with us for more information. Let's take a look at our guide report for you fishermen. Things are picking up down here at the Trenton Lighthouse. Lots of big walleye up to 14 pounds after dark. That's casting off the piers around Luna Pier. They also have fair perch and good bluegill success in the cuts. We find this is true up here. Riverside Bait and Tackle Port Huron says the perch are excellent in the canals to Fairhaven. They're getting some steelhead off their break wall. Keith Lutz says good perch success in most cuts off Saginaw Bay. The walleye have not shown up in the Saginaw River yet. Let's go over here to the west side of the state for a second. White Lake Outfitters say they have good perch success on the west end of White Lake. 5 to 6 inches of snow right along here, but it's local. West Wind Sports, no ice on inland lakes, some steelhead in the surf in the Pentwater River. Here at Pilgrim's Village, Lakes Cadillac and Mitchell, there's enough ice that some anglers have been getting out, taking some panfish. Cherokee Run reports Houghton Lake, 2 to 3 inches of ice. Not much. Lake St. Helens has 4 to 5, so there's some ice fishing going on, but it is a little dangerous. JD's Outdoor Sportsman in Petoskey says very little ice inland, quite a few browns and steelhead along the shore. Now, if you want more substantial ice, go to the UP, 5 to 8 inches as of 2 days ago up in Muskong Bay, getting some perch and walleye. Lindquist says there's enough ice on Teal Lake for perch and walleye up in the Marquette area, some splake on inland lakes. Big Bay Depot at Big Bay says Lake Independence has enough ice for catching decent perch. Lots of snow in the Huron Mountains. Dick's Favorite Sports says there's enough ice on inland lakes for bluegill and pike. Bow hunters taking some deer. 3 to 4 inches of snow, not enough for snowmobiling, although this weekend there could be. What in the world is taxidermist Tim Hayes doing now?
Right now I'm installing what is called the inner septum. It's just the area between the two nostrils here.
On a deer mannequin. Mm-hmm. Oh, I forgot to mention, you won't be here. The museum will be closed Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, both Christmas and New Year's. A little bit of time off. back at the first of the
Needed
year.
time off.
Needed time off, that's right. I tell you what, you take some time off too, get outdoors if you can. It's a great place to be. See you next week. You crank it in.
I just pulled it up and all the line went out on the ice.
Okay, so you had the line all around your feet and he's pulling it out. Was your dad behind you? Was he near you?
Yeah, he was behind me.
And what happened when you saw how big that pike was?
Well, I just looked down the hole to see if I could see it, and I seen a big old pike down there, so
What'd you say?
I said, it's a pike.
Well, but you know, getting something like this through the hole isn't easy, is it?
Well, it was heavy. He had to, after I pulled it right up straight like this through the hole, he grabbed it and threw it on the ice, and then we had it through the ice.
You must have been excited. Who was more excited, you or Dad?
I don't know.
That's something else. He was? But he did it himself, huh?
Yeah, the only thing he couldn't do, he pulled it, you know, it was hurting his hand. The line was trying to get the weight of the fish up onto the ice. So I just grabbed it by the head and iced it. He did all the other work.
You did all the other work. Matt, you're a heck of a fisherman. I think you got one heck of a future ahead. Let's congratulate this 8-year-old